Well, hello and welcome to Wooden, What You Don't Need. And today's video is going to be sort of random reflections.
I like alliterations, as I told you.
Random reflections on Casio and non-Casio steel bracelet. Specifically, I'm talking about cheap Casio watches or cheap watches from other brands. Now, these are some, or maybe all, of my Casio watches with steel bracelet, and I'm not happy with this. I hope you know that when you buy cheap stuff, you get what you paid for, and in fact, despite the fact that I've opened this box only a few times, this bit has already broken. But that's besides the point, I'm digressing. Let's have a look at these Casios from various ages. Now, first of all, I am sadly discovering that my 1979 Casio is out of battery. I had changed the battery on this one maybe a couple of years ago, and now it's not working anymore. So since we have this one on our hands, this is a 1979 watch. With this particular, I don't know, does it look like a Jubilee kind of bracelet? I like this bracelet, but I will tell you later on which one is my favorite bracelet. If you want to have a look at the review of this watch, I will put a link in the description box. This is a 1979 Casio, as I already told you. You can see that it has a clasp. It has Casio engraved on the clasp. And you can see that the bracelet is made with folded links. Now, these are, as I have been known to say in other occasions, these are well folded links, and notice if you compare them with the links of the beloved A-168, there is a difference in manufacture. I mean, the links on the 1979 watch, they appear, I don't know, more cleanly executed. I know that these are links which have different measurements, so that might be the reason, but still, this one, the A-168, gives me the impression of, cheaper, whereas the 1979 model gives me the impression of, well, more refined, even though it's folded steel and it's not solid steel. Watchmaker told me that in the late 70s and early 80s, these digital watches were considered almost like luxury watches. And this is how this bracelet looks on a 16.5 centimeters or 6.5 inch wrist. It's quite comfortable to wear, and I haven't worn this watch much. I try to preserve it because of its historical value, but I've never had wrist hair being pulled by the links of this watch. So it's quite a comfortable bracelet, and it's quite nice aesthetically, quite pleasing aesthetically. Let's have a look at another Casio bracelet which could resemble the style of this one, even though the links are different. And this is the Casio A-159, made in Japan, or so it says on the back of the watch. And you can see that still, despite the A-159 being made in Japan, so maybe a more refined and affordable Casio, I paid the A-159, a bit more than your regular A-158, but still, look at the difference between the 1979 watch and the 2024 watch. The older watch gives me the impression of being more accurately executed as far as the folded metal links are concerned, but you can tell me your opinion. Maybe you think they both look as good. So we have this kind of a bracelet. I don't know if this style of bracelet has got a name, but I can tell you that this is very comfortable, and the high number of links gives you the quality of being very flexible. Yeah, this is a nice looking and nice feeling bracelet when you're holding it in your hands or when you're wearing it on your wrist. I have to change the battery. So then we have this style of bracelet of the A-159. You have your clasp here with Casio engraved and the holographic sticker on. I like this watch. This is not your A-158. It said the A-159 and it says Japan, so it could be made in Japan. And there's a review about this. Now, we can compare this with the only non-Casio watch of this series, which is the Armitron Rubik. This is an all stainless steel construction watch, meaning that the case of this one is all stainless steel. And there's a review of this one. It weighs more than the resin counterparts, and it has a very beautiful case back. So all in all, this gives us the impression of having higher quality, and the style of bracelet of this one is very similar to the one on the Casio. So let's confront and compare them. Now, on this one, the folded links, they look well executed. I don't know if it's a matter of dimension but look, the design on these two bracelets is very similar. So this is the Timex. The bracelet on the Timex does not taper as much as that on the Casio. So the design is quite similar, but look at the execution. If we have a look at the back, this one looks more professional, in my opinion. Of course, I'm only expressing personal opinion. You can differ and you can tell me in the comments below. So all in all, the bracelet on the Armitron looks to me better when turned than the one on the Casio. Still, for some unknown reason, maybe for some emotional reason, I don't know, I like the Casio best. I'm much more prone to wear Casio instead of the Armitron. There has to be something on the dial, maybe the proportion of the digits that I don't like as much as I like those on the Casio watches. Can you see what I'm talking about? The digits on the Armitron, they look a bit slimmer and more, I don't know, square. And since we have our Casio 158, so the Chinese made cousin of the 159, let's have a look at its bracelet. And here we find it. So here you have the A-168 on the left and the A-158 on the right. Can you see the difference in the bracelet style? Now, I'm not really sure if I prefer the one of the A-158 or the A-168, but these two are my two favorite bracelets. Aesthetically, I have to say that lately at least, I have been preferring the A-159 with this golden brown dial. But we're talking about bracelet, and these are both bracelets that I like, despite them being not that premium looking when you turn them. Once again, A-158, A-168. Cool, cheap Casio watches. This one, the A-158, has got a useless backlight, whereas the electroluminescence on the A-168, go and check out the video dedicated to this, is really pretty, really nice. Now let's have a look at the last one, no, the second last one on the list, which is the B-640. A couple of videos on this one, and the thing that bugs me about this one does not concern the bracelet, but concerns the varnish or the painting on the resin case, which is already beginning to fade away, despite not having worn it that much. But we're here to talk about bracelets, and you can see that, let me grab the A-168. The style of bracelet is very, very similar, if not identical. Yeah, measurements on the B-640, I don't have the caliper with me, but the B-640 looks maybe a bit wider towards the clasp, but I could be wrong. It could be an optical illusion. Anyway, these two bracelets, they look very similar. Let me turn them. And the back of the bracelet, when we turn it the reverse side, it looks quite similar too. So not much to add about this style of bracelet. The clasp is very similar too. Maybe they're not exactly the same, but very similar. And the last one that I have for you here is this model from 1985. Now this one, and go and check out the review on this one, has a nice timer. With just the press of a button, you start the timer, and when the timer rings, it has a very nice two-tone melody. You will hear it in 48 seconds. And let's have a look at the bracelet. This one to me looks very well executed, you know, better than the various A-168s or A-158s or A-159. This is more or less like that on the Armitron Rubik. I like to see how cleanly the steel is folded. And on this model, I didn't hear the timer go off. Why is it so? What's up with the timer? So I like the bracelet on this one a lot. Bear in mind that we are talking about a Japanese made watch from 1985. This is a smaller watch. In fact, I bought this for my wife. And this is really a vintage piece. I have the box. Go and check out the review. I like this style of bracelet. I don't know if it has a name. And I like also the back, the execution of this bracelet. Now let's wait for it to ring. 4, 3, 2, 1. No. This might be a signal that the battery on this one needs changing. So today I found out that I have to replace the battery on 2 of my vintage Casios. So this means that the battery on vintage Casios lasts a lot less than that of more modern ones. And I think that on this sad note, we have to end today's episode of Wooden Watch You Don't Need, and I'll see you on the next. Please subscribe, and I'll see you on the next of Wooden Watch You Don't Need.